Looks like Ethereal actually get the first pick and the first ban as well, currently hovering the Uther. I suppose after the bit of a whooping they got from that Genji Uther combo just before from Nomia Boys, they would decide that, hey, that could be something worth considering, but they do flex back and almost revert back to the Anubrak they'd banned out in the previous series against NMD. But yeah, Battlefield of Eternity, it's where they want to go with this. Do they decide to ban out that front line and put them onto different heroes, or do they decide to actually target that Li Ming? Because greatness, he loves the hero, he plays the all build of all builds, and that really was a problem for them.
It was, especially in that early game where they were just eating orbs as though they were breakfast cereal. But the Genji been banned after a couple of cycles for Ethereal, and then we've got NMD instantly taking off the Anubrak as well, because that first pick is available for Ethereal. So by not banning it out, it's once again, it's like a force ban almost. And I'm not surprised by this, Skimmy. The Oriole, with how much Luminum has been doing on this hero, with how comfortable he is on this hero, I'm not even surprised by a first pick Oriole.
This is going back to the true and trusted strategy, and this was really a problem for the NMD lads beforehand, where they try and focus down a target, and if the person wasn't able to get one shot in an instance, the Aegis was there buying crucial time for them to re-establish themselves, regroup, and because they had those control strategized comps, they were able to sort of like have that small window to breathe, collect their thoughts, and re-establish their pick targets. So, with that in mind, what two picks did NMD decide to go for? I'd love to see them just pick up that Li Ming.
Yeah, I'd love to see them do it as well. Deny greatness, force him onto something else. Perhaps he's just not as optimal at playing, perhaps. It's that deny pick, and she works so well on this map. It's not just a deny pick for the sake of it, and she fits into a lot of compositions well as Dahaka is a nice start to things. But what's the next one?
Yes, good.
Woo!
I like that a lot.
That is actually really promising from NMD. So what we saw the strategies coming out from NMD and Ethereal last time was like, we've got a control comp versus more of like, let's race the Immortal. And then they're realizing, because they weren't even able to get to the Immortal, their race comp was essentially useless. So this time they're drafting, thinking about the weaknesses that they can perhaps exploit from the side of Ethereal. But Ethereal have got their Diva. And they are not afraid to actually get that Grey main either, which really good hero on this map.
Really good hero. I'm surprised they didn't actually pick up the Vala, because now it leaves the opportunity for Vala to be banned away. Especially because you're going to go that Hungering Arrow build, gives you that good 1v1 potential against the Li Ming. But I mean, this is a case where denying your opponents actually works out really in your favor. They're going to go for the ETC ban instead, which also proved to be a bit of an issue in some of the games. Penta playing pretty well with those mosh pits, and that really was their first strategy, right? They were taking away the ETC, but they flexed it, they've changed things up here, and I'm really liking this opening from them.
I do too. So interesting by trying to ban off the Valor. Perhaps they had no indication of wanting it, nor versing it. But I'd say, yeah, an Arthas ban would be a bit nicer, because he can counter Greymane quite nicely anytime he tries to dive in, just really working against what Greymane's trying to do. Stick to targets as well. So Oriole, Detainment Strikers down, being a bit of a sitting duck. Diva as well. I'd like to see them go with this.
If they ban the Arthas, it makes the Valor that much more attractive to pick up. Yeah, they're going to switch at the very last second. I was just going to say, if you ban Arthas, you're kind of out-drafting yourself, to be quite frank. They do go for the Valor in the end. Yeah, because they need to combine it with the limit.
Yeah, that's it, right? Because the Valor will then give them the range on both aspects, both their range DPS and a mage. So that's why it could be a bit of a sticky situation. I'd say they have the tools for it, but then after looking at the Oriole and Diva, I'm like, you don't have enough burst, not to contend with that much damage coming your way.
Yeah, now puts them in a bit of a sort of awkward position, because they can't go for the Gul'dan. It'd be way too magic damage heavy, or stacked, if you will.
I don't think they're ever hovering. Oh, Lunara would be nice. I don't think they... I was saying with Gul'dan, I haven't seen them shown any interest in him.
No.
And perhaps not even on a map like this. It's like they're not really too worried about him being the optimal battery for Oriole, per se.
I'm just thinking, what kind of tools can they have to actually prevent this Oriole Aegis? Because right now, in the past, they've been pumping a lot of damage into this Diva. Obviously, she has that 2 health bar mechanism combined with the Aegis. That's a lot of time to buy time for your team to set things up. They go for the variant. They do go for Lunara, which I really respect. This is cool. This can work out pretty well for them. The sustained fights, progressively whittling him away with the Orb if he decides to go for the Orb build on the side of NMD, but Lunara as well, allowing you to then juke a lot of that damage and, keep them at bay.
I also like that Varian pick as well. Say if a target is dragged, Dahaka can initiate with the drag. Varian can then charge in. They've got a lot of rolling CC now, and that can be quite deadly. Say once 10 is obviously picked up, level 2 and acquired, our favorite saying, and that Lunara is going to be doing so much damage. That poison will be spreading. So I love that pick, and she can also slow. So Diva, Greymane, it's really nullifying what they're trying to bring to the table by giving them that slow.
And this seems to be the theme from Penta. If he can't have a ZTC and if he can't have Dahaka, it's straight back to Muradin. And this guy plays heavy impact Muradin. He's not about to sustain life. He's about getting in your face, stunning out the key targets, and forcing the agenda, making the fights work for them. Nazebo is going to be locked in as well. No reliable follow-up for the zombie wall, but you'd have to imagine it's more of a deterrent for the engage. Once again, pandering to their defensive controlling nature. Wimnot Ravenous Spirit will be the big talking point. You'd have to imagine it'd be Gargantuan. But we'll have to see what this final 5th pick is. They need a support. Rhaegar is still available.
I like Rhaegar in this composition. We still do have an Uther as well. If they want to go down that path, can be quite good at blocking out what Greymane's trying to achieve. I mean, Brightwing to a lesser extent, but then I think they're pushing the healing, so you wouldn't want to go with something like that. Even, you know, Karazim at a stretch, because there are some like high health targets that they could shred.
Wow.
But they've gone with the Mouth. So this one's interesting. I didn't really suggest Mouth because I felt like they were packing enough CC already. And Mouth can only heal a single target.
Hux really loves this Mouth. He's played it every single time. And Wave Clear, sure. Rhaegar still brings Wave Clear as well, but he has a cleanse. And then if you've got Uther, you've got Guardian of the Ancient Kings for the CC chain that will inevitably come out from the Muradin, potentially the Detainment Strike that then follows. Not to mention, if you do get the stun attempt and Greymane tries to go for the one-shot, once again, you've got all that armor to protect you from that. So this Mouth, it's interesting. It kind of plays to the idea if they get a Taunt, they get a Root on top of that, and the Twilight Dream, it's that whole wombo. And he's trying to say, look, we're actually playing on the old patch. We're not playing live patch. We're still playing HGC patch.
Well, with that Mouth, it's interesting, as you said, because with the Mouth, it panders to their ability to start that team fight and really bring the aggression. They're not going to wait for Ethereal to bring the aggression to them. They want to be the aggressors. So I know everyone hates that word, but in that regard. And with I think the biggest reason why I didn't suggest Mouth was because no cleanse. So what do? You have to absorb the full impact. Yes, you can heal it off, but let's see if it punishes them. If they can be the one to be aggressive, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's just that if someone gets singled out by Penta, and if that stun hits, next thing you know, it could be a target blown up.
Well, here we go. The final series of the day. This one determines who joins Nomiya in that 4th and final spot for next weekend's championship finals. On the left-hand side, it is Team NMD. Hiccup on Varian, Malfurion played by Hux, Ninja on Lunara, Physics on Li Ming, and Dahaka played by MIA.
And on the red team, we've got Team Ethereal, Penta on Muradin, Touch Me playing Greymane, Sarah Lee on Diva, Greatness playing Nazebo, and last but not least, Luminum on Oriel.
And already I can see a variation here from the Greymane. Touch Me deciding to go for Wolf Hearts. So potentially, not necessarily, but potentially threatening a more auto-attack based build compared to the usual Cocktail, which finds usually a lot of value on this map, not only for the wave clear, but the sieging potential, which really is the name of the game when you come to picking up that Immortal in the mid lane and objectifying its purest form. Sorelli with the boost straight away, getting that flare on, showing what he can do, but in the top lane it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a Nazebo up against Dahaka.
I don't like that, especially because I know Greatness has chosen to opt into that spider build. So by selecting Widowmaker, he will have a lot of single target damage, yes, but I think against the Dahaka, it's really going to be about that push and try and just keep on par with it. So perhaps Toads could have been something better, and he can still do a lot of that damage. He's building for the Immortal in mind. Yeah,
absolutely. He just took one combo to the face from MIA and already dropped to a third of his health total. He's just not going to be able to keep up with the sustain here. But yeah, the Spider build, to me, looks like it's all about the Immortal as opposed to the Toad build, which is all about that zoning control. We know this is what NMD like to do. They want to get in your face. They want to force the fights. Historically, against this team, they've had a bit of a rough showing. Every single time, the early game has been rough for them. Let's see if that break and that lower bracket has allowed them to regather their thoughts and redefine a strategy, because these mid to late games leave too much to chance, Vandy.
Exactly right. You want to get that snowball rolling and then really just close out the game based off that. Start the ball rolling. So what we've seen is that, yes, they're able to win, but it's the other team holding on. But look at this. With that bait going on, Sarah Lee going in.
Yeah, all the team is on defense. Now you just want to look, try and get that pick straight away. But it doesn't really matter at this stage. People are far too tanky to be able to be taken out that easily. But they're going to go back in for the aggression here, and indeed they're going to look to try and get as much damage on this as possible. They do have the winning race when it comes to that. Straight away, Dahaka joins the fray, looking to try and add some form of presence. Sorelli is already extremely low. Self-destruct is inches away from being able to proc, and in that pilot mode, that's where the action is going to hunt. Oh, Pence is going to jump in here looking for Hiccup, and Hiccup has nothing left in the tank. He is an easy picking, and first blood is picked up by the boys in red.
Did you see that cheeky detainment strike in the wall of zombies? That was some dirty, sweaty plays to kind of coin your term there, Skimmy. Aluminum doing the detainment strike, getting physics away. They really are putting everything into defending their immortal.
Yeah, the race is really going to work in favour of their NMD for the meantime. They've only got one member working on, actually, two, whilst the rest of them go on defense. It actually makes it an even trade for the most part, a 500 health buffer between the two of them. And with them spawning on the opposite end, you have to imagine that both of them are just going to go straight for the race.
Race time, but look at this. They've sent greatness down to start soaking that experience up. Get them level 4.
It's going to be a close one. 241 health on the shield. I tell you what, that's one auto attack, one look away from your screen. And that could have been a very different story. But that does allow them now to have a half-level lead, much in part to the fact that MIA was bodying the solo lane against Nazeeba. But Nazeeba is already in the bot lane. It's forcing Dahaka to walk all the way down, saving that Brush Stalker for the forced engagement.
Really, really they are. So let's see if they can get a lot. This is one of those early game immortals, and he doesn't really have a shield, so I don't know how much value he's going to get out of this. Early in pilot mode, in Baby Diva form, really popping off those shots. You can do a lot more damage by having the mecha mode up now.
And that one's going to be dropped with no trouble at all. You can see that the front wall is going to be the main priority here. Get a little bit of XP. Obviously, those towers giving so much more in the early game because it is static. They don't scale with time, so you want to try and achieve as many of those to get the ball rolling. Level 6 has now been acquired, looking for that level 7, but the fight is actually working favorably for the boys of NMD. The poking damage of that poison really starting to come across. There goes the root, the broccoli securing the kill, and the vegetables. Well, I'll tell you what, that's why your parents make sure you eat them, because they can net some dirty kills like that.
The self-destruct did go up, but by then the damage had been done. Entangling Roots got the kill that they needed, so this is Huck's really showing us on that mouth pick. He's like, this is why I'm picking him. It's just more crowd control. We can set up some plays. Like, I like it. I like the aggression that is coming out of NMD this game.
Gank attempt in the bot lane. Aggression from Ethereal now. They want to change the pace. Stun goes on towards him. And there goes the zombie wall as well to follow. This might literally be enough damage, and it is. Walking towards the gate, he was a sitting target, and 3 members of Ethereal make sure that gank attempt counts.
I love that. Like, Dahaka used everything to try and stall. The burrow went out, and even Sarah Lee coming in to hit the nitros, get the boosters bumping out of the way, and then the last little tickle of a spider skimmy, that's what did it.
Yeah, the gank, it's really a testament to Panther. He loves to get the roam on. He realizes which lanes are winning and which lanes are losing, and it seems to be a characteristic of greatness. Make sure that he can actually pop off. We saw on Tomb of Spider Queen when he was playing Sylvanas, help him out, make sure that he can achieve that strength to not necessarily carry, but not feel gimped in his potential to add to this team. But there we go, Shaman camps have been picked up. Slightly delayed cap by Ethereal, which is going to work in their favor. Yes, it can be countered by Dahaka, who's already in the top lane ready to respond. You can take any advantage you can get.
So interestingly enough, I just noted that Physics opted for Power Hungry as opposed to Force Armor, saying that not really too concerned about any of the spell damage coming out. So sacrificing that for more damage, essentially. The spell armor for damage on that case. And also opting for Calamity.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely. Not going to go for the dirty orb build. All about getting in your face, getting those resets, getting the self-sustain, making sure that Mouth can prioritize those heals on another hero. Touch Me getting straight into the face of things. Nearly gets the one-shot to Physics. Physics managed to stay in the background safe. A beautiful burrow. But those zombie wall onto 2 crucial melee targets is great. Sorelli looking to try and be the next one, but a detainment strike from Lumen. Clutch or kick, I tell you what, that was huge. Malfruit does secure the kill. I don't know which support was popping off there, but they both did excellent jobs, but Roots win the day.
Second time around, really, isn't it? So at the end of the day, once all said and done, Lumen, he's got nothing left in the tank, and that's when Hux gets that all-important Entangling Roots. They were so low on both sides at one point.
Both of these comps, yeah, they definitely do get stronger as the game goes on, but you can almost see when these zombie walls are coming across, the follow-up isn't necessarily always there. Touch Me was doing a lot of damage to start things off with. He has got this hybrid build between cocktail build and extra range, so he's almost playing a little bit like a Vala with the extended human range. So I have to see how that one pans out. If he still goes for the curse bullet, or if it is going to be the go for the throw. Oh, look at the damage! Zombie wall, that's what they needed. This time it connects. The Tamer Strike ensures that he's stunned, and that time he is killed.
Great stuff. So round 2, Ethereal. Now, respawn times are short enough so that you can actually get enough time to come back to the Immortal. I love that every time Sarah Lee is popped out of Mecha mode, stays in pilot mode to try to do as much damage to the Immortal as possible. Great Detainment Strike coming out from Aluminum, but Hiccup's going to walk away. Does have to proc parry to absorb some of the damage, but that's all he's got. Just a small scratch.
Yeah, Oreo arguably one of the hardest supports in the game, that compared with, say, Karazin. And I say, he's definitely making sure that those Detainment Strikes do have some value, do net a kill. Oh, I believe he actually used the Dwarven Toss at spawn cooldown. He can't go anywhere with that. He was caught in the root as he jumped. That's a feels bad, man, to when Dwarven Toss used to give you unstoppable clips. But that's going to net 2 easy kills. As a result, wow, that actually does net the Immortal in their favor. But level 10 has been acquired now by NMD.
Ethereal really wanting that level 10, as you said. So a lot of what's happening now that I can see is that we've got NMD, they're not afraid to play aggressive now. And this is what we wanted to see. Before they had an aggressive comp, but they weren't getting the picks, they weren't getting the kills that they needed. This time, when they have picked a target, they have enough crowd control to really ensure that that kill happens.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to make sure that these kills do collapse. And you saw in the past games, they had the gank attempts there, but every single time, either the gank wasn't successful, the hero got away in a very limited amount of health, or if they did get the gank attempt and nothing came of it, your opposition, they'd do their own sort of testament. They'd get a gank, or they'd go for a merc camp, they'd find objectives, and they'd actually make it worthwhile. So right now, yep, the Punisher didn't really achieve too much. Sorry, the Immortal didn't really achieve too much, but the turnaround is in favor of NMD. They're going to go for the structure in the bot, but Ethereal already have their eyes set on top lane too.
Oh, look at this. 10 was acquired by Ethereal, but Ninja, being a ninja himself, so using the fort to to leaping strike over and then get the killing blow onto Greatness, who was hanging around just trying to soak up some experience. Fancy footwork.
Vandy, I was asking during the draft, is it going to be a Ravenous Spirit? Is it Gary the Gargantuan? It is Ravenous Spirit. It's all about that DPS life. He does not care about controlling a bot AI. He wants to make sure that damage is there to follow up the Greyman, who has gone for go for the throat. So looking to sort of stick around, pump out damage from afar, and when the time is right, jump into that Worgen form and hack and slash their way to victory.
Well, what we saw before as well was when Luminum pulled out the Aegis, when everything was all said and done, that's when the Ravenous Spirit came out, when everyone was grouping up. And we saw some great results come out of that. So is that a repeat that we're going to see? Is that the strategy that they're going to go with by selecting Ravenous Spirit? Because it can be interrupted.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it seems to be a testament to, you had to hope that they play off that, bit the Aegis, as well as the self-destruct. If the self-destruct is there, it's essentially a zoning sanctification. They can't walk into it because otherwise they take 2 times the damage. They have to back away, but then they only take 1 times the damage. So it's an interesting dilemma. I have to see how they decide to sort of force these fights.
All right, Penta. He's used a stun onto Hiccup now, being forced to get protected, and Sarah Lee now. Not doing too much else with the engage. It's really both teams flexing their might, but here we go, Skimmy.
Oh, this is really good. They're going to get stunned by the Punisher as well. Aegis comes out and that does deny it. That's beautiful to start things off with, but the Disintegrate is perfect. Twilight Dream to secure that one as well, and that stops any chance of Touch Me getting his own retaliation kill himself. Go for the throat is still available. The chase pursues, but MIA should peel off with the rest of the team. They have the 13 advantage, Vandy. They can definitely smash up phase 1.
My goodness, did we see how much damage came out once they got the first reset? So, interesting interaction. I'll just quickly say for Li Ming, when you get D.Va out of Mecha mode, it counts as a reset. So, you have to be also important when you want to let go of that Mecha, because you have to be keeping in mind that Li Ming does get a reset off that. And then, as we saw, once the first reset happened, Sarah Lee just got everything unleashed upon him.
Even more so the reason why we'd love to see them take away this Leeming. And so far, this has been a turning point. This is the first time they've commanded the early game and have shown no signs of slowing down. 7 kills to 3. There's the taunt attempt straight on towards Oriel. No Aegis this time, and instantly popped like that. Hiccup still looking to make more plays. Taunt will be up in another 8 seconds. Greatness is exposed. No ice block for him. They're not level 13 yet, Vandy, and still the fight continues.
They are hungry. We see Hiccup now with the taunt. We see Leaping Strike go out, but Self-Destruct has been activated. Sarah Lee running for his life. Another Leaping Strike gets the mecha off!
He clutched it so hard there, Sarah Lee. The poison would have ticked and he would have been a dead man. But no, the mech comes out at the very last second and ensures that they don't lose more than just one.
I saw Sarah Lee just doing a little bit of a twirl in front of his gate like, woo, I did it. I managed to make it. That was some touch and go moment there, but this Immortal falling rapidly.
Rapidly, it is indeed. You can see Hux is perfectly flanked on the side, trying to look for it. Hiccup is going to go for it once again. Leaping Strike on top of a entangling route, looking to try and take out 2 targets. Touch Me in the backline, looking for the flank. He does get the flank, but it's not enough. Twilight Dream secures that Ninja stays alive. Here comes the Ravenous Spirit, though, and it is peeling people back one by one. Mouth is gone. Lunara's gone. The trees have fallen. Cool the Fire Brigade, because right now some kills are coming out here, and it does allow, though, NMD to pick up the Immortal. It is still really healthy, but Ethereal will get 2 kills for revenge.
They do. Their troubles, I guess, were not met with. What they could have done there is that, yeah, you could have let Immortal go, but I like that they chose for the aggressive route. They managed to pick up some kills, and they can easily deal with the Immortal now without the constant pressure of NMD being there to help siege with the Immortal.
Let's have a look at the damage numbers, Vandy. 44,000 coming out of this Leeming. Absolutely smashing this game. Not to mention the Lunara flex pick. We talked about it earlier in this series. We said, can teams play it? Is this a pick that is viable? And right now it's proving to be exactly that. 34,000 damage is coming out. And, well, if you compare that to what's coming out on the side of Ethereal right now, their numbers are comparatively lower. Yeah, sure, it is a Nazebo, and he's doing 29,000. That is going to ramp up, but so does Lunara as well. So the early game is working in favor of NMD. It's a case of can they sustain it, because level 16 is fast approaching.
I'm scared. 116 is obtained. That's a power spike, and this is when you can start searching for this fight. So Penta knows that. He's going in.
This is... Wow, this is such an aggressive invade. As soon as level 16 is about to be quiet, Ninja gets out on 150 health. They get the first kill onto Oreo. This is really good for NMD as they get collapsed upon. 16 has been acquired. They now have that extra talent tier advantage to go for it. Touch Me jumping into the backline, but Calamity hopping on hard. There goes the Twilight Dream. Resets for days. Healing on top of that. And Physics is having an absolute field day.
Resets for days. Sarah Lee does manage to get out. Self-destruct is available. Whether he'll use it to zone this push, I mean, he can, but I can see he doesn't want to. That's the thing, but he might not even get a chance. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. Look at the Physics.
Physics
in a
nearly
bit of a
getting in
weird
there.
situation, but he doesn't have enough damage. That's the only issue as Steva.
So frustrating to play against. Really bought so much time for them, not only with the self-destruct, but the baiting of Li Ming.
Great, so almost got the kill as well. If any other member was alive on the side of Ethereal, they could have gotten that kill. Guaranteed.
This is some great timing for NMD. They still have the 16 advantage. They've just stolen away the opponent's Shaman camp. They're now going to be able to rotate to their one quite cleanly too, and this allows, given that there is no global pressure from Ethereal, for that to allow a 4v5 to take place in the Immortal in the mid.
Let's talk about if Ninja fell in that fight. I guess I still think the outcome would have been the same with Ethereal losing, but they might have been able to capture a lot. They just put too much into trying to get Ninja. So I saw Sarah Lee running with defensive matrix up, but he really needs to cancel that and just see if he can get the damage to get Ninja dead at least. Because it really punished them that they didn't get a kill for their troubles at all.
Notice the positioning from Physics. He's always on the flank, looking to try and collapse. So you can see that as soon as Ethereal decide to retreat, he's there ready to clean up. Say, look, you think this is a safe retreat path? Absolutely not. Wherever you go, there is damage coming straight at you. Ninja now doing the exact same as well. Penta getting a little bit frustrated by they're trying to force the fight. Taunt coming out onto Penta. There goes Ravenous Spirit as well, on top of a huge zombie wall. MI is just taking through it all. He's going to pop as well. Self-destruct. Oh, wow. Twilight Dream coming out. And I mean, Muradin is the first one to fall, Vandy. They're picking up one by one. There's the double kill, looking for more as well. And Shield Wall's been popped.
Look at this. They are not yet happy with that. Luminum also very, very low. Ninja trying to get those kills. Wall of Zombie does go out. Zones him out. Sarah Lee is going to pop out of this poison. Ice Block having to be proc. Luminum is on 1 health. Look at these kills. Sarah Lee, nowhere to go. All of this is going on, Skimmy. Might I add, there was a massive camp wave down in bot. Shaman camp, coupled with Khazra, was pushing down that whole time, even before the fight had begun. They don't even need Immortal. They have so much. Yep,
they're going to actually try and do it. They're going to go for the call. Respawn timers are up in 4 seconds. Muradin is up. Next to be will be Greyman, but apart from that, 20 seconds on the rest of this team. Shaman camp will passively push this. The core shield has already disappeared. You've got Hux single-handedly topping up this team. Sorry, not Hux, MIA. Working on that Immortal to make sure that they have that win condition, but the core is already sustained 11% damage. That's permanent damage. There is no Mule, and this next Immortal will go straight top, and that keep is already exposed.
That's going to be scary as well. This is starting to go to be a late game Immortal as well, and so healthy. Look at this. Okay, yes, they weren't able to push down completely. They managed to back off quite nicely, making sure that they didn't do a throw and then let go of the Immortal. So I like that by NMD, knowing when to be aggressive, when to back off. And they actually did manage to get the core down to 85% for their troubles.
I'd like to see them slow push this. I'd like to see Dahaka go in the bot lane, keep the pressure up there to keep them conflicted where they go, because they're so close to level 20 now, Vandy.
Pretty much. Once 20 is acquired, that's just going to be it. They will be forcing fights for days. 16 has not yet been obtained by Ethereal, so they really are hurting. They want to try and catch up.
No, Ninja. Oh, the leaping strike, juking at the fight. He jumps straight back into it. He somehow gets away. Unlucky. Is the call really there? Penta's going to be jumping straight into it. Twilight Dream in the back line. Akers has already been popped. They're looking to try and get 2 kills on the front line. As Touch Me and Penta forced to run away. Touch Me on 400 health. Surely is dropped out the mech mode. Resets for days. And Leaning will not let that sneaky little snake get out this time.
Oh my goodness, Ninja living true to his name. It's not yet enough. Hiccup is going in. We see the Ravenous Spirit go out. Physics is the reset pops up. Oh my goodness, we see Dominance kick in with him getting his health back. That was touch and go there. They were trying to get a kill. We also see Ninja on the core as well. This is GG, Skinny.
They were trading ranged assassin damage. They're saying, look, my Ravenous Spirit is better than you, disintegrate. But at the end of the day, NMD managed to put the pieces together. They got a 4-level lead, 21 kills to 6. And they start this lower bracket finals with a 1-0 lead.
Well, that was an explosive series. You know how at the beginning, when we were even in pre-draft and saying, I hope NMD have learned about the tactics that Ethereal likes to play. And now if I was Ethereal, I'd be a little bit worried. So your strategy isn't working. You're being forced onto heroes perhaps that aren't your first preference, that grey main perhaps being a little bit rocky.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So are you going to change it up? Do you have some more heroes in the reserve that you're just waiting to pull out? So, yeah, very interesting start. NMD, I'm worried now. They're awake.
Yeah, I mean, NMD have suddenly put the pieces together. They've really come hard strong. They've almost like identified what the conditions of Ethereal winning is. And they said, look, we take this away, we ban that away. And Towers of the Doom. I love this map. I actually didn't like this map when it first came out, but now the manipulation is almost a little bit like Dragon Shard, where it forces you to have to rotate well, and you can't just spam a keep. You've actually got to utilize the objective, and the objectives in the early game not necessarily as impactful. We always go back to the ANZ Classic of 24 shots in one go. 6.5 out of 10 comebacks can't happen.
10 out of 10 would watch again, because that's just how outrageous it was. And I have to agree with you as well. I wasn't the biggest fan of this map when it first came out, but it's really grown on me to become almost one of my favorites. I just love the different diversity it picks, because you cannot directly attack the core. You have to be very strategic with how you play the objectives.
Well, here we are, Vandy. We're in the lower bracket finals. I'm looking at this team on the right-hand side, fighting for their championship spot survival. This is Team Ethereal. Touch Me on Fausted, Sorelli on Ragnaros. ETC played by Penta, Ufa played by Luminum, and Greatness playing Sylvanas.
Looking cool and blue. We've got the NMD guys. Ninja playing Greymane, Hiccup on Diva, MIA on Johanna, Physics playing Genji, and Hux on Rhaegar.
I'm really curious to see how this Rag pans out. He's been nerfed a fair bit, and as a result, he's really fallen out of love. How do they want to utilize him? You have to imagine it's the Q build. You have to imagine they're going to go for the Sulfura Smash and try and smack somebody hard. Combine it with the Mosh Pit potentially. We even set up for the Mosh Pit with a big, well-placed stun. But already, level 1 aggression is the case here. Hiccup is actually going to be the one, as you mentioned, playing that Diva. And this time around, it's all on Physics to switch from those shooting supports and pop off with the Genji duties.
Now, this is the first time I've actually seen a variation in Diva's talents. Anytime people pick Diva, level 1, you grab Hit the Nitros. What that allows you to do is deal a ton of burst damage as soon as you hit her boosters. But by opting for Rushdown, anytime Diva doesn't take or deal damage, the cooldown is over by 5 seconds. So you can have your boosters up like more frequently, allowing her to traverse the map a lot quicker.
So it almost suggests to me that they want to be really on point with these rotations from mid to bot, mid to bot. Given she is going to be the Selena against Touch Me here, I mean, what does that suggest to you? Does it suggest that she's going to be actually getting pretty aggressive?
I think it's more, as you said, she just wants to be very, very hyper-mobile. So perhaps clear out top, then rotate to bot, or it's just to get those quick, snappy rotations happening.
So generally speaking, you do see teams prioritize that one in the middle. And both the solo laners, be it D.Va and be it Falstead, will respectively take the top left and top right. But it's all about the 4v4 to start things off with, depending on how that top lane works. And right now it's working really in favor of Falstead. That's how it can manipulate you, getting that initial start. But ready, NMD, go for the Sapper Camp. That's a big advantage for them to start off with. And Physics is the first blood casualty.
He was blown up. There was no escaping. Luminum and Penta just grouping up on him. Between them both, they had enough CC to really just, I guess, melt his face to take a word out of ETC's kit. Face melt.
Greatness is going to negate a lot of that, though. He will have the Sylvanas passive. He will be ready to shut that down with the Black Arrows. And the Sappers, which generally speaking, can achieve so much, get nullified in a second. But the Sylvanas pick, that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing. Sometimes you see Merc Queen picked up at level 1, which means when the Sappers are escorted in, they do an extra 50% damage. And if that's how they wanted to play the macro game, bot lane would be a fun lane to start playing around with.
Oh, by camping those Sapper camps. Camping. See, now I'm doing it too, Skimmy, but we see Physics getting dangerously low there, needing to recall. I love the rotations going on the side of Ethereal. They're just bouncing between that bot and mid lane right there. But we did see NMD manage to snag both of the beginning altars.
Yeah, it's a rough lane for Hiccup to start off with. He does obviously have the global against him, but not to mention it's the lane pressure. He can't bully it. Doesn't really do too much damage, more so just to be annoying and frustrating for the self-destruct later on as this game progresses. But it is going to force Ninja to come for the rotate. He's going to sneak around, not denying that vision and not giving up his position. He's actually just going to go straight for the 7 camp, not even coming for the gank attempt. Touch Me, as long as Hiccup here doesn't read it too hard, then yeah, Touch Me will have no idea about this and he can sneak it in.
Yeah. Oh, it's all going to be about that. But look at this. The Sapper camp now in the bottom lane starting to do work, so Sylvanas can really clear that wave. They can get the pressure going on. They can actually escort these Sappers in. Nice chunk of experience.
First tower gone, and as you said, yeah, gives them a half-level lead, looking really good to hitting level 7 first and acquiring that next set of talents. Shadow Dagger really seems to be the talent tier that Sylvanas players focus on now. Especially when comps are so melee focused, you can definitely get a lot of value as it spreads across the team, not to mention provide vulnerability, self-sustain with the heal. And always a question of Sylvanas. She was such a go-to for such a long time, but with Valo and Greymane being really the staple, she's fallen off a little bit, but with this build and with this meta, she can actually pump out a fair share number.
Oh yeah, you know it's going to be, she's really in her heyday when you can see Sylvanas being either second on the damage leaderboard or sometimes even first, depending on the comp, just how melee heavy they are, because Shadow Dagger, you can just spam it for days and actually get some good value out of happening from it. So it is interesting to see. She used to only be the PvE character, just leave her alone in that lane, just let her solo push. No, now she's a hybrid. She's almost like that Nazeebo now. She'll push and contribute to a fight.
A 1-for-1 trade on those bell towers. As they now do get back to the rotations of soaking lanes and pushing with. What I'd like to see them do, NMD, is push them with the Sapper. Right now they're just letting Greatness utilize those Black Arrows to make sure that they find no value, or little to no value. This time they're actually going to escort them in slightly further. My MIA is going to walk in with the Condemned, trying to get those in. One does get stunned, and that won't be able to commit. The second one falls on down. The third one might potentially get there, but it also gets taken out. And that's how hyperactive we're getting. We're getting excited over minions.
I know. Well, it's just building up, isn't it? So with every time they get that denial of the Sapper camp, we're getting hyped over because it's a big deal. It means that you're not losing your front wall. You're keeping that experience intact. And Black Arrow just doing so much. So I guess someone in chat was asking, where's Merc Queen on this map on Sylvanas? It can be a great talent, but because the Sappers are just designed to be bombed, they don't really stay for the long run. They push the camp and then they blow up on the objective. So it's about escorting them in. It can be a good talent, but then it nullifies her team fight potential.
Yeah, true. So I suppose it depends how they want to play this one out. But right now, a lot of the focus has been on the spot lane. It's allowing them to get this half-level lead because they've already taken down one tower and that front wall too. But it seems to be all eyes on the spot lane right now. Another set of altars have spawned. One in the mid and one in the bot lane. The bot lane really is going to be the one that NMT want to force the fight with because they will have the self-destruct. because there's limited to no choke points for them to escape from.
So are we also seeing what Hiccup's doing? He's trying to soak both lanes. So I guess that's why he also did take Rushdown. So he's just rotating between bot, top, trying to soak up as much of that experience as he can, all while he's matching Touch Me on that Falstad.
And you can see that because Ethereal win the race to level 10, they can force things out very early on here. Surely actually pops the Molten Core to prevent any kind of engagement in the bot lane, which is an interesting decision to make. Level 10 is really close right now for the side of NMD. Still, Molten Core is spreading fire damage from afar. They do concede the first one in the mid lane, but this is where they want to contest. They want to go to the bot lane. Boosters have been activated. Hiccup is on his way.
Oh, Physics is getting engaged upon, but he does pop out the Swift Dash. We do see the Blessed Shield go out on Seralee, followed by Greatmane going in.
Yeah, going to try and force the fight here. It's actually a 4v5 Hiccup. Now does finally rock up, self-destruct right in the middle of things, but no chance to actually lock people in place. Not going to find any value whatsoever. They lose 2 altars for nothing, and level 10s not being as impactful. A little bit too late there.
It almost was, wasn't it? So with that fight, it really ended up going in Ethereal's favor because they managed to push them off the altar. And that's all, I guess, a lot of the power that they can bring to their composition. So even Seralee going into Molten Core, he was almost using it to scout out, even while they had the 10, really deterring them from trying to make a move on that altar.
And as a result of this, they still have the pressure. They've still been pushing these lanes in exceedingly well. And Touch Me just goes back to basics, straight back up to top lane. Hiccup trying to get the advantage there, given that there was no global. Trying to push that lane out because he's getting so bullied in this lane. As soon as Touch Me rocks up straight to half.
Oh, you don't want to be rocking up to a fight with that much health. But look at that battle between the trading of the Sapper camps constantly happening in bot lane, whereas in top lane they're relatively untouched. And I'll tell you what, Skimmy, yeah. Hiccup's just been such a little trooper in that top lane the entire time. Remember we had the TAS in the morning as well, just going on, we called it nannying duty. But I feel like Hiccup's doing rough.
Yeah. It wasn't a fun time for Physics. Physics has said, look, I'm not doing it again. I hate this net Falstad. Put me on a carry. Let me have some fun. So Hiccup is taking one for the team. That's some true team camaraderie.
I like that. Gust coming out by Touch Me now. We do also see a stun go out. Iron Skin being popped by Johanna to start to pop out, but getting dangerously...
Oh, the Ancestral is... Oh, wow. I tell you what, that wedding arrow, if it had come out a fraction earlier, would have popped off before the Ancestral could even connect. Wow, MIA was down to literally 100 health, and that would have sealed the deal here, but he's going to still stick around. Iron Skin is up in just a second. He's not going to be able to pop it because he's stuck in the CC chain. Ninja on the flank trying to do work. Oh my! The Divine Shield at the very last second, and Ninja is denied. Physics trying to get in there with the Dragon Blade. He's not going to be able to fight it. There goes the Mosh Pit, and they even walk in towards it. Rhaegar just getting clumped, called out for free. Ninja's waiting in the brush. They don't even know he's there.
Oh my god, Ninja. He really lives true to his name. Both this game and last game, Ninja's always just getting away in the most ridiculous ways possible. But, oh my god, I loved what happened there. Dragon Blade found absolutely no value, completely nullified. We saw him swing once, twice, had to instantly back out into the mosh. Insane value. Followed by the Sulfurous Smash as well, Skinny. Another altar.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, where teams put a big focus on the bot lane. Because of the Sappers, because of the ability to then, especially because they have the Molten Core, they can actually sit under that bell tower and permanently keep it under their control. If they try and make a wild defense for it, the entire team can collapse upon it. They've got the Gust, they've got the Mosh, they've got the Swing of the Hammer, and they've got the Smash from Reg as well. They've got a lot of defensive tools. And so if not, they want to do it. Right now it seems to be that rotation is the name of the game. They're going to go straight for this boss in the top lane.
I do like that as well. There is so much damage coming onto this bottom bell tower, it will fall. So NMD do manage to reclaim their bell tower, but while all that was going on, boss was acquired by Ethereal. That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to force NMD to respond to their bell tower acquisitions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain degree of you can stall out the game, wait until you reach some certain power spikes before you really put up a good contention for these altars, but right now they are living, well, they're pretty much conceding a lot of free shots. NMD's core is down to 11, and 32 still healthily remain for the side of Ethereal. You can see they're looking for a setup from the flank, and they need to do this before 16 is acquired. They're going to go straight in there with Pickup, looking for a self-destruct that's going to zone out a lot of people, but it's too far, too little, because the Gust comes out, blasting any possibility of that finding value. The fight is looking a little bit desperate right now. Bless Shield comes across Vanny. They're still looking for the clump up. Luminum and Penta are in the front line, the focal points of this. It's going to be a blast wave to ensure that they can stick around. Hiccup getting the boost to try and lock in Lumen. Dragon Blade comes across, but the Mosh Pit, Vandy, and the Sulfurous Smash gets the turnaround. 1 drops, 2 drops, both hyper carries gone, and Ancestral is not enough, and they overchase Vandy.
Divine Shield on the Mosh. It's not enough. Hiccup instantly getting blown up as well. And they're still hungry for kills. Hux looks like he might be the next one to fall. No, there's just not enough damage from the Shadow Dagger to finish him off. Oh, Hux and MIA managed to make it out. But tell you what, these fights are explosive. I've said that word a couple times today, but this one really did. It was a smashing show, might I say.
This is actually GG. If they get all 3, it's GG.
It will
it's
be.
done.
They don't have anything. What are they going to do? Johanna, she cannot fly to the point. That's where globals can be such a pivotal thing in a game like this. So well done, Ethereal.
Just like that, a 12-minute game. Ethereal say, game 1. Yep, you took what we're good at. You're going to try and take what we can play, but we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to give you a masterclass on Tales of Doom. And that game, I mean, to put it lightly, it wasn't too close. They got outclassed in the rotations. Hiccup had a bit of a rough time in the top lane, not able to find the value that Sorelli usually does. And Sorelli says, look, I'm not just a diva one-trick. I can also play this guy and bust out the big Rag Daddy.
Yeah, I was hoping Sarah Lee would bring out the Ragnar. I said I've seen him on it before. It's worked out quite brilliantly. So I guess this was almost that little ace up the sleeve. He's like, fine, I'll play it if I have to. Diva is my first choice, but really nice plays. And Skimmy, we did see the Divine Shield Mosh come out, and that was insane. Aluminum on, what was it, 100 health, running away out of there, got out because of that play. I loved that by Ethereal, but enough from us. I'm going to hand back to Disco and Geo Phoenix. Let's see what you guys said about that explosive game.
I was just dominating. Like it was all in Ethereal's court. I felt their draft was better. They played it better. They rotated better. I mean, there's a couple of glimpses from NMD on that map, but I think just with all the DCs, all the problems they're having, they're kind of just, I think just put NMD on a little bit on tilt, and they're like, look, they just blow away. They've blown that game out, blown away the cobwebs. Let's move on.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sold on that Diva play. It just didn't really seem to get any value from the pick. Yeah, it was a kind of a pick or denial pick, but we talked about it before in the Nomia vs Ethereal series. Is like, yeah, you kind of get this pick to take away from your opponents because, yeah, they're very strong on that hero, but just because you take it away doesn't mean they don't have anything to work with. As you were mentioning, Vandy, that Sorelli has that Ragnaros and did pretty damn well on that Ragnaros. So I'm not entirely sure why you'd take the Diva away, and when you're relegating the Diva to just like cleaning up after the Falstad, you're never going to be able to play proactively as a Diva.
Yeah, that's essentially it. Diva's wave clear is slow. It's a bit painful. I hate just being left in a lane as myself as Diva because it just takes forever. I'm like, I could be doing better things. I could be soaking damage. I could be generating my self-destruct. So why am I here trying to clean up a lane when it just takes me forever? I'm not optimal at doing this at all.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen that kind of playstyle work before in Tales of Doom, where your comp potentially has the late game, or not even that. Maybe it's a macro-heavy comp, so you're all about picking up steppers, you're all about taking bell towers, but they didn't really do either. It was kind of like, we lose top lane, we're losing the 4-man rotation because of Sylve, and slowly, the XP went in Ethereal's way. They won teamfight after teamfight. It just got scrappy, and then, you're sort of biting off any pieces you can get, staggered death timers to say the least. And, I mean, the game was just, it was over before it could really fully get started. So, I mean, this is game number 3. We're on Dragonshire. Everyone knows it's my favorite map. I say that same thing every single time, but this map really tests a team's ability. It's all about communication more so than any other map, because you've got to manipulate those shrines and control the DK.
We're going to see
how it's pretty much a competitive staple, this map. And I don't think there is any better way to finish off the day than a winner-takes-all, essentially, game on Dragonshire. So, yeah, it's a very fitting way to end it off.
Let's make sure these guys are ready, because we don't want another crash. Let's see if these guys have got the readies.
Please.
The hamster wheel's prepped. The toaster's good to go.
The toast is good.
Was it the hamster's fed and watered?
Yep, the hamster's fed and watered, and the potato is charged.
Or in the more morbid one, the hamster has been replaced with a
Guinea pig? Something bigger? Oh, we tease.
I'll just
But
more with
yeah,
something alive.
bunny, hair. We can take our pick. But I am in no means endorsing that you do this. So with Dragonshy, as you said, it's about controlling those altars, making sure that you can then channel the Dragon Knight and then get a push going. You know what? Asmodan wouldn't be too far out. If Ethereal actually wanted to play him, this could be his map. He could work in quite nicely, but he needs to ramp up quick. Otherwise, what we're seeing coming out of NMD is that they really do try to favor getting that early game composition, which they were lacking a little bit actually last game.
I mean, one thing to consider actually is if they're not scared of the Asmodan, if they say, cool, have it, because they're going to be second pick this time around NMD, they need to make sure they secure that Greyman in the first rotation. So they have the Curse Bullet to say, look, if you do go it, we can blow him up. We're not scared of him. So they have the potential. Generally speaking, you're playing on those rotations between mid to bot, either that or you're going to play a ganker that's going to prioritize the top lane. Two different types of strategies you can go for, but at the end of the day, it's all about rotations. And it's all about who can, talk the loudest.
Who then gets heard. Is that going to be you, Skimmy?
Well, it's my job. It's in my job description. It looks like we're going to get some screaming and chatting in just a second because Dragonshy is the final one to kick this night off with. This map determines who joins Nomiet for the fourth and final spot in next week's championship finals. Who do you think is going to win? Chuck it in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. NMD up against Ethereal, Vandy.
Ooh, predictions in chat. Let's go. But we need some info coming out of the draft. But I mean, okay, with the way both teams are performing, I'd say it's even. It's going to be the draft that will allow me to, I guess, do a prediction. Yeah. But let's see what we go. Any predictions for what we're going to see be first pick?
I'd imagine they go for the Nubarak ban straight off the bat once again. They didn't seem to be too phased when the Genji was let through.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was just a rough game for them because they didn't really have the most innate synergy with it. But they're going to take a lot of time, and rightly so. This is the final game. This is literally deciding if you get prize money and if you have potential to make it to the Western Brawl going forward. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but 10 seconds left on the clock for Ethereal. Where do they want to go with this draft? Nubarak has been the big focus for them all tournament long. Is that going to change?
Perfect. Nubarak off the table. So both teams have really respected that Nubarak. Neither one willing to let him through for obvious reasons. He is a walking crowd control train, even more so than ETC. And he can just offer so much versatility in how you want to build up the rest of your team comp.
And there seems to be two different strategies you can play for this map in terms of you either go wave clear or you go for ganking potential. So wave clear where you're bouncing between mid-bot, you win it in that regard and you can snowball the lead in terms of getting mercs and manipulating the waves in that manner. Or you can go for the CC chaining where you go for that V-bush and, well, unlucky, there's 5 people waiting there just to take you down.
The Bermuda Triangle bush, because it's a mystery what you're going to find in there if you decide to face check it. So don't do that. Just don't. Don't fall into the Chinese bush.
Don't be a face checker. Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it. All right. So Falstad working out really nicely for Ethereal. And they said, you know what? Let's do it. We're ready to take him on. So great pick to open up on this map. And instantly responded to by Greyman like that as well.
So, I mean, the reason I really like this Falstad, Vandy, is it's worked for them so much, right? They've had so many problems dealing with the solo lane all series long. In both series, actually. We just saw it against Hiccups Diva. We saw it against Physics Tassadar as well, and even more so because the Hark has taken off the board. They've got a global. They can manipulate their shrines that much better.
Yeah, I like the Greymane Uther combo, the pickup. So, again, best buds. We did see the synergy being denied because it started with the Genji and the Uther was instantly picked up. This time now, they were able to pick a carry with the Uther. This was what they wanted originally in their draft, I believe, last time NMD, and they're able to do it. But when I'm looking now, it's that Gus. That Gus is just doing so much work for Ethereal. So I need to see more lockdown on the side of NMD before I'm truly convinced that they can make this work.
Yeah, and I think the Greymane, as we're mentioning, is a really good pickup here because it says you can't essentially go the Asmodan. If you do, well, we're going to punish you extremely hard for it. They're going to go for the Vala and the Ethereal, which you had to imagine now baits out the Tesla ban from NMD.
Yep, instantly, without any hesitation. They have hovered over it. It would just work too well because Oriole, either if she's pocketing Falstad or Valor, she's got 2 pretty decent Hope generators, and then giving them the TAS as well. That would be scary stuff. Yeah, so much sustainability if they let that one through.
On the flip side, I wonder where they go with this. Do they ban out the Li Ming or do they ban out the Genji? Which one do they prefer to take off the board? Genji, like I said, they banned it all time long, but the time they did leave it go through, we weren't really too phased about its impact. Yeah, it does cause a little bit of problems for Falstad, but that game in particular, whether or not it was just the circumstances as a whole, Falstad wasn't really that threatened.
I would like to see a Genji ban on this. I think if you give them Genji, Greymane, Uther, you're asking for a really uphill battle, especially because, yes, you do have Falstad, Val, Oriole, and they're quite squishy. Genji can go in and disrupt, same with Greymane, and then if worse comes to worse, Uther can Divine Shield one of them to really bail them out. Opted for a Ethereal ban.
They're that confident.
He pairs off really nicely with the composition that NMD is trying to pick, that Saint can really give them a lot of safe playing ground, and as well if they went Judgment. So that dive composition once again.
Yeah, they're actually that confident that the Genji's not going to find that much value. They leave the last slot for the Genji Flex, potentially ETC and Kelfast. That's a bit of a blast to the past as well. Power Slide into Gravity Lapse. You said it, Vandy. They need some CC lockdown, and that's exactly what they're going to bring.
They are packing a lot of it, and as well as taking the ETC and Kael'thas, both of which Ethereal really do like to play themselves, it is starting to get into that territory of we are going to still try and deny you. We feel confident playing these heroes as well, and they feel what we need. More importantly, they feel what we're trying to do with our composition.
2 final picks for the side of Ethereal.
We need a frontline. We need some frontliners starting to happen.
Where do they go with this? They need a frontliner. Anuba's gone. Dahaka's gone. Diva, potentially, but it doesn't seem to be the most innate sort of pick. Johanna's locked in. Is it the Asmodon Dream?
Let's see. Mura.
No.
I was expecting Mura for one of the picks. I didn't know that they would go Mura and Johanna. I was thinking a Bruiser might have been picked up, but it really is going to keep Vala nice and safe and make it quite difficult. So there is a dive comp on the side of NMD, but they have to go through 2 huge tanks. But look at this pick, Skimmy. Love it. 2 giant health pools for Leoric to drain Hope off. Yeah. And he's got the wave clear. I love that.
This is really good. They've got the double percentile damage now if they do go for the Curse Bullet, so they can lock in a target with the Entomb. Gives them a much stronger Solonian, which is an area they've been really weak in the past. And it means when they go for those rotations between mid and bot, they actually have kill pressure too. So this is pandering what to NMD want to do. This is pandering to how they can play this map. And this is classic Gold Ethereal. They love to play the control. They're going to base it all about sort of the Valor and the Falstad, not to mention classic Luminum with his Oriole pick.
Luminum's like, thank goodness I'm back on my beloved Oriole. He has shown us that he's probably one of the best with that Oriole. Just so many plays, the Detainment Strike so on point. Aegis just very strong on that hero.
Would you go as far as saying he's one of the best in ANZ? Make it meme-worthy?
Of course, Skimmy. It has to be meme-worthy, otherwise it's not worth saying.
Oh, here we go, Vandy. For the final time tonight, one of these teams goes away happy. The other, well, their tail is between their legs. A sad, sad day of playing Heroes of the Storm. Let's introduce them one final time. One apiece here. On the left-hand side is NMD. Ninja leads things with Calfast. Leoric played by MIA. Hiccup on ETC. Physics this time playing Greymane. And Hux is on Uther.
And on the red side, for the final time tonight, we have Team Ethereal, Touch Me on Falstad, Penta playing Muradin, Luminum on Oriole, Sarah Lee playing Johanna, and Greatness on Valor.
Now, we were talking earlier today about the pressure, and every time we've got to a third game, the pressure has really begun to show, and this map will exploit that tenfold. We're going to get the level 1 shenanigans. Hiccup is going to face check there. They're going to clump people up there with Sorelli. But, I mean, you have to imagine that this pick on both Johanna and Muradin is just a direct response to Hiccup saying you can never get your mosh pit off reliably.
Yeah, both teams falling in this A-ramp, but Touch Me, especially low Drain Hope, has connected with him. He will be forced to back off, and some Convection stacks have already been acquired. 3 being acquired by Ninja, in fact.
Yeah, Ninja going to go all out with that damage. He wants to make sure that they pop off. He wants to make sure that they can get early kills and they get power spikes. very early on into this game. Penta is going to scout out the rotation. A beautiful Determined Strike as Hiccup looks for the power slide. Lumin's so on point with his hero, and you can see why they have such a big emphasis on picking it up every time.
With Faustad, he has opted to go the auto attacker build in favoring to opt for Seasoned Marksman in his level 1 talent choice.
You can see in the top lane once again, MIA. This time I have a bit better time. The Drain Hope is going to give him that much needed sustain to deal with Touch Me. But it's going to be all eyes on this 4-man rotation. Generally speaking, with the Vala, if you've got double support, you should definitely crush that 1v1 lane. It's all going to be on the CC chains. Can they synergize between ETC and Kelfast, and then the Greyman for that raw damage to follow?
So there was a 3-man gank onto Ninja in the bottom there, and he did a big gravity lapse that found 2 targets, allowing him to then dodge the stun coming out by Penta. And he's just like, guys, is that all you've got?
I am not entertained by what you bring. Hiccup is on the prowl again, but Penta is on point. He's got the Stormbolt ready. Both of the shrines have been capped. We're going to see a fight break out in the bot lane. Determined Strike starts things off onto Hiccup. He's looking for the power slide. He doesn't want to go for Penta because it's not the best target. Greatness is getting 3 damage to start things off with Bandy, and Hiccup is forced to back away.
Yep, they defend their shrine, but in the entire time that was happening, NMD, with MIA in that top lane, has managed to secure that top shrine. Touched Me so low from the Drain Hope.
Luminum is actually a god. I'm not sure if you saw that, but he went for the power slide on Greatness, who had already been gravity lapsed and taken a lot of damage. Luminum, just with the prediction, a click of the wrist, bam! The Determined Strike into that wall, and the denial for the 2nd time in such a clutch moment.
There you go, Skimmy. One of the best in ANZ. You can pop it off right now. It's happening. It's here. Penta running away now with his Living Bomb. It's not going to do too much. It'll just tickle at this point, but it will start to ramp up quite soon. Hiccup quite low. Penta goes in.
Low. He's going to be the first blood. He's going to be the first casualty. Nobody was actually going for the rotations. It was all about the duel in the bot lane. My camera was locked on, and we do deliver with the first blood. The first tank to drop on down. Then ETC. Wow, you know, he's not as strong as he once was. He does have the ability to pop off, but that kill's going to be all that's needed for Ethereal to pick up Dragon #1.
Seriously, so patient in the middle lane. So confident that his team would be able to win the fight without him, and he was just soaking, getting the experience there for days. Once it was capped, once again, Dragonite being acquired. Let's see how much they can get out of this. We are seeing 1 turret go down, and then it looks like, is he going to try to stay this lane or rotate on?
Right now he's just buying a bit of time because still Vala's getting a lot of push in the bot lane. They've gotten 2 towers in respective lanes, but I mean, still the same story in top lane, Vandy. Look at top lane. MIS is being bullied out. This Falstad pick is always giving NMD problems.
So what happens is, with that Falstad and Leoric combo, essentially, if Falstad is going to be out of mana, it will be, or if the Drain Hopes connect the majority of the time, it will go in favor of Leoric. If, however, Falstad does get low, all he has to do is half back and fly back in. So he's got a quicker recall to lane, essentially, which Leoric does not yet have. He still has to walk back out to lane.
And for this game, we are going to get Greatness flexing with the auto-attack build once more. He's gone for Death Dealer at level 7, looking to amplify his final auto-attack when he does go for the Vault in. That is insane. A lot of damage that can come out here. Not the spread damage for the control, not the Frost Shot to manipulate the waves. He's all about that single target damage. He's all about resembling what Greyman can do, but in auto-attack capacity.
2 auto attackers being built here, so no Mage Falstad being picked up. It's that Seasoned Marksman into Hammer Games, into Boomerang. So very much on the auto attack, and then same for Valor by picking up Creed of the Hunter, by picking up Death Dealer. Very auto attack focused.
And given that ETC has gone for Block Party at level 1, that's going to be a lot of emphasis on him to make sure that he finds value. But in the top lane, value has been found once again. Leoric is the first one to drop. They're looking for Hiccup. He does get out, escaping by the skin of his teeth down to 100 health. And the lanes are being pushed in again, Vandy. The same story. Yes, MIA does have the Spirit Form. He can stay in the lane. But this is NMD in a rough spot to start off again. And this is not what you like to see them start with.
So it's interesting, because Ethereal has been prioritizing that Falstad the entire game, one could argue NMD, a change that they could have made in the draft. I know it's all weird to talk about, they shoulda, coulda, wanted to, but if they're looking back at this, I'm going to stop because it looks like there's a gravity lapse onto Greatness.
Wow.
Ninja taking a lot of damage coming out there. Look at that burst.
They tried to collapse on towards Greatness to sustain. The denial from Penta with the Thunderclap prevented that one-shot combo coming across, and they even got the turnaround and nearly flicked it on towards Ninja, who also got away at 100 health, and he's up to 9 stacks in that convection. Does not want to lose those.
That Death Dealer coming out from greatness, almost sealing the deal. That is death itself staring down at you. But I'll finish my point before, and I was saying, with the Faustet being taken off, you might not have needed to do the Dahaka ban. So if they pick one, you're allowed to pick the other. So you don't handicap yourself in that regards. But I think maybe they're trying to make up for it with the ETC.
Vandy, that is the sweatiest player I just saw in the top lane. MIA flanked around on the right side, trying to actually get the jump on towards Touch Me. So if he goes, I have ultimate. He gusted him into the tower, and MIA just dies for free.
Oh my goodness. You would not be happy with that if you were MIA. And that has forced Hiccup to have to rotate up top.
You can see that MIA is going to get the cap. Cerelia is there to respond to it. Faustet flew through to mid, looking to try and get the cap on that dragon because bot lane is completely controlled. It's dominated. Night Camp is scorching in, and they get the fault for their efforts. It's 9-11.
Just had to let that sink in for a sec. But don't worry about it, because it's none of that.
Oh, face check! What do we say about that? He does get the heal.
Don't do it.
Guardian of the Ancient Kings really doing work there to ensure that he didn't die.
Fort totally gutted in the bottom lane, and now they're trying to get their pressure up into all the other lanes. There is a Night Camp being escorted in by MIA in that top lane, but once Touch Me shows his face, he knows he needs to back off. He has not been having a great day against that Faustet.
Still 9 stacks on his convection, not being able to really get the jump on anybody. They've now capped the bottom shrine. They can look to try and go for a rotation, but if they do rotate through to mid lane, it's going to be lost in a second. There's still a 1v2 in the top. It's Touch Me and Sorelli both trying to take down the Leok. The Skeleton King is doing what he can. Drain Hope is not going to be enough to get the 1v1, and it does mean that Physics can't sneak in that Dragon Cat. Back to the bot lane. That is the focus.
Oh, I mean, MIA was trying to be the hero there, but
Mosh pit is huge, man! Did you see that?
I'm looking. Oh my goodness.
2 people gone.
That's
Beautiful
what I was
stuff
going
from
to
NMD.
say. NMD, they can switch on once they have 10, once their heroics are acquired, and that's exactly it. They did the Mosh Divine Shield combo, and they were on the receiving end of that last game. So it's a little bit of you've done this to us, now it's your turn to enjoy.
Beautiful. Exactly what they needed to do. They had the aggressive comp and they've been playing it very patiently, waiting for the opportunity. They still have bottom control. They're looking to try and establish top control. MIA is going to get the cap, and now Hiccup can begin their challenge in the mid lane. Dragon for dragon. How much can NMD get with this one?
Let's see how they go. So starting on that front wall in the middle lane here, but we're seeing a very quick rotation come out on the side of Ethereal.
All eyes on mid. Faust is still going to utilize that global by going to the top lane. First turret does fall. Looking to now establish the second one. And the XP has been caught up considerably. It was 2 levels behind, but suddenly it's a half-level lead that Ethereal retain.
Skimmy, I don't know what... I'm just worried now. So ETC has Mosh available to him again. And this is where things could start to get a little bit messy. There is a camp in the bottom lane as well, with the golems pushing heavily in that bot lane. And it looks like Gravity Lapse onto Penta. Avatar has been popped out. He does go with a Thunderclap onto Hux.
They are going to look to try and go for this one. Faust is coming in here looking for the gust. He's going to get a one-man gust on towards Hux, who Divine Shields himself. Uther looking to stay alive a little bit longer. He gets the heal on himself as well. That ensures that he can try and run away. Devotion form is here. Greatness is the first one to try and get popped off, but it's going to be Oriel dying after the Aegis expires. 2 have died, all for their sins, trying to take out the Divine God himself. Entomb ensures that nobody can run past the grave itself. Hiccup sliding on through like he's Tony Hawk, and it's a 3-for-1 trade, triple kill. NMD turning up the heat.
There is still that golem camp in the bottom lane getting them so much value. They were just not able to clear it out because as soon as they wanted to, they tried to get that engage. And it was quite clever. We often just like lament. We're like, oh no, why did Uther Divine Shield himself? That was the precious seconds he needed to buy so his team could come and then engage off the back of that, because so many cooldowns had been used in chasing him to try and kill him. It was just buying the seconds for his team to come in, and then bam, the insta turnaround of that fight was insane.
And because of that fight in the mid lane, they actually got so much value out of those golems that you were talking about before. That fault needs literally one more shot, and it's a dead man sitting. So they get the rotations. They now find themselves in the driving seat. They are the ones that have the level advantage. They've got both the golems completely taken out for free. They can now rotate to their knights, and they can now try and get a bit of map control, reach level 16 first, and dictate the pace of the fight.
I really would have liked to see Falstad perhaps go that mage build. I feel like going 2 auto attackers is a little bit of overkill, especially because you can only focus a single target at a time. I think they are trying to shred a tank first and then go from there. But how much value are you going to get out of that realistically, especially if ETC is going to set up with the Mosh?
Looks like these teams are going to jump around for this night camp in the bot lane. Every ultimate is available. Falstad is already setting up for the rotation and he's gone to mid lane. They know it. They can see it. Instantly, NMD go for the back. They say we can't afford to do a 5v4. We're so close to 16. We have far too much to lose. Let's just pick up the Giants. They're up in 10 seconds.
Do the safer play. Yeah, they don't want to let any advantage go on the side of Ethereal. It does allow Ethereal to get the cap. That's all right, because once 16 is up, we'll see NMD starting to sniff out for a fight. But look at the invade here.
Fight. They are still going for it. As a result of Touch Me rotating on down, Leoric can get top for free. He's left the Knights there. He's coming down for the rotate. He's coming on the right-hand side. He's going to actually try and pincer this team in. The fight breaks out. Ninja across the wall is looking to do damage. Phoenix zones out one. Both the tanks are down to half. A little bit anticlimactic as they do decide to back out. The only ultimates that were used were Curse Bullet and Phoenix, but they will be up very shortly.
And Ninja did manage to get a nice chunk of stacks onto their convection, now on 18 stacks, only 2 away from being complete, and that's a mini power spike achieved by himself. So just playing carefully, we saw Ninja's positioning as well, just on the other side of the wall. Really not much chance of getting collapsed upon.
Now this level 16 is absolutely insane for NMD. They have the Fury of the Sunworld, a double flame strike. They've got the extra damage from the cooldown as well from Drain Hope, not to mention Executioner by Greyman. The raw damage, it gets scarier and scarier. Hiccup looking for the engage. Can he find it? He's in the front line trying to get rid of Greatness and Luminum. He's zoning them. And you can see that Ethereal are split. Some by the Dragon Cap trying to stop MIA. They're actually really confused, really conflicted. How did they go for this fight? Johanna in the front line. Oh, Physics getting baited out here, buddy, in 2. Phoenix in the back line. Rain of Vengeance is going to juke out for a little bit of time, Vandy, but they're trying to buy time for this cap, and it does. Physics gets the channel.
Oh my gosh, they just can't do anything at this point now. This is where things start to get really scary. They were winning the early game Ethereal, but now they can't damage these tanks at all. Even with both auto attackers, they're not getting enough damage out. Hiccup just getting in there for free. The block just doing so much. Coupled with that Uther as well.
Every ultimate is still available. Mosh Pit does come out instantly interrupted. If it wasn't a Detainment Strike, it was the Rain of Vengeance as the Insurance Luminum in the front line, extremely aggressive. Has to burn the Aegis on himself and the Gust for good measure as well. But those are 2 big cooldowns down. If this keep drops, definitely they can look for a fight.
We do still see a Blessed Shield available and Tomb up as well as Curse Bullet, but that Divine Shield is the one I've got my eyes on, because if they want to start a fight, there can be a whole lot of damage mitigated from that. But with that Mosh down, it's about seeing if they can get a catch with Entomb.
They're actually backing away here. Ninja's conflicted, thinking, no, just back. Just get out. We don't want to fight this. They're still looking for the fight. I would have argued that they would have been stronger with it, but they don't feel too secure without having that Mosh Pit. They're going to play it safe. Too much to lose, Vandy. This is what we're talking about, those nerves. They're not going to rush it for the keep. They're going to play it safe and play it slow.
It's a slow burner game for these guys, definitely. I mean, I also thought if they could turn around, just catch one with Entomb, they could all collapse and then once again, numbers be in their favor, but just not feeling it. The call was made to back out, and you've got to listen to that call. Otherwise, things start to get a little bit messy.
I do go to the top lane, clear that out there, still retaining this 1 level lead. Falstad not being able to have as much impact as he would like. The Golems on NMD's side spawn in 10 seconds. The Golems on Ethereal's side spawning in 30 seconds. Expect to see a rotation come out. Expect to see the macro play really come into its own now.
Will we see another invade coming out is what I want to see, because they're going to, NMD will take their golems first, and then it leaves the golems of Ethereal to respawn. But look at this.
They're doing it.
On the side
They've
of
seen the Giants are being capped. They're not ready for this. Looking to try and take out MIA. Leoric is forced to back out. He's taking a lot of damage. He's down to 150. He does receive the heal, but the invade is successful, Vandy. They get double Knights in the top lane, and they can try and secure that final fortification.
And Curse Bullet was used in that little scrap as well. I mean, it is on a short cooldown, only 30 seconds, so it should be up the next time they want to fight, but look at the value coming out of that night camp there. It's just going to delay because it's forcing NMD to have to clear that before they press on.
Hiccup has Mosh Pit. Touch Me is trying to recall. He wants to go back, but he's being forced to stick around. Are they going to go for the Divine Shield? No. They just burn Gush right like that. They don't even care. 60-second cooldown. It won't matter too much, but the shrines are now active. And with that, Hiccup says, thank you very much. I got exactly what I wanted.
So I like this. Penta stayed on to cap the point. We do have Touch Me recalling so he could clear that golden camp in the bottom lane. So good play because that would just be giving a keep for free. You cannot allow that.
MIA is caught though. Blessed Shield as well as the Detainment Strike. Leoric taken out for free as 4 members are sitting in the shrub saying nope. This is definitely not just one person. And they take him out for free. They can now get the support. They can open up that Death Bridge. And the rotations are all on NMD. They do, as a result of that trade, steal away the Giants, working towards bot lane, which is what Touch Me is after. He wants to make sure that keep stays alive.
Oh. I'm just thinking now, okay, if you're on the side of Ethereal, I love what they're doing. So they're managing to catch NMD a little bit off guard by invading their camps. We saw that NMD was not expecting that aggressive play coming out of Ethereal. If they can continue to do a pick like this is what they need to do because 5v5 is going to be very difficult. If they're all clumped up, the Kael'thas is going to absolutely have a field day. As well, on top of that, Mosh. I mean, it's tough. In the top lane, it's Touch Me versus MIA once again. Foul Stab versus Leoric. Just not going to have needs backup on that one.
So Gust is down. Also, Flight is down, so he can't fly back in. They have the ability now to force the 4v4, and arguably they're actually stronger in that 4v4. This is enemy off.
Oh my god,
Touch Me is looking for the rotation. He's looking for it. They're going to go for the phase check on towards ETC. ETC is going to actually be able to power slow straight into us with the mosh, but he can't get any detention strike. There's no stun attempt. Divine Shiver's on it as well. MIA looking to try and pop off. Damage from afar, but there was no flame strike. No potential for big damage. The Entomb is there, and it's going to be enough to blast that target through. Phoenix securing the deal, but not without Greatness getting a kill as well as he exchanges with the Rain of Vengeance, and it's Penta up against 4 as they collapse. They're fighting in the middle of the jungle. This is disastrous right now. MIA with a swing of the hammer picks up the Valor as well. A 2-for-1 trade, level 20 nearly there, and that keep in bot lane is so open to being taken.
They can rotate for it straight away, but I think they're going to opt to capture this Dragon Knight instead. But look at this by Penta! Skimmy! That was so sneaky. Penta saying, I know you have ninja on your team, but I'm going to do some ninja work on my own. That was insane! I love that.
That is
great.
That is the definition of cheeky. He's outplayed. He said, yeah, you might have 20. Yeah, you might have technically won that team fight, but I picked up the Dragon. What are you going to do about it?
It's going to be so much stall for them as well. That's great. So instead of getting that keep down in the bottom lane, by opting to get the Dragon Knight, it looks like it's almost punished NMD. It really has. They're not getting anything out of winning that team fight now.
Wow. The rotations. I said, rotations win this map, and that was a cheeky play, to say the least. I think NMD really underestimating what Penta was looking to achieve. They thought they had the numbers advantage. They thought that nobody would actually try and make a play, and it's caught them off guard big time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Penta definitely showing that he was not afraid to make that play. I mean, you are Murid and you are such a great tank, but to stay around and be that cheeky, it was great. No one was guarding the Dragon. They just didn't expect it.
20s on both sides, Vandy. This is really the talking point. 19 minutes into this game. Bot lane keep is still the big talking point. It's out of its total health pool, 14,000, only got 4k remaining. It's extremely low. You can see that's what they're trying to work on towards, and that's what they're going to set up for now. They're going to begin by taking their own Giants. You'd have to imagine they want to go for the invade and steal away the opposing team's Giants as well. Get a big push in the bot lane. They've got the extended range with Flamethrower for Kael'thas. They can poke away slowly and try and take that one down, and that opens up a lot of lane pressure for them.
This time, no chance of invade, just because the night camp was taken a lot quicker because they sent 3 members up to that night camp this time around on the side of NMD. But it looks like NMD now want to do the reverse invade. Oh, but they backed off. As soon as they saw that the camp had been taken, backed off. Hiccup made the call to not go in.
Well, Darkness didn't just push bot, just force it. Whilst Falster is up there top, just do something. Be reactive. Or say, be proactive. Just force something. Make something happen. MIA is going to lead the charge, walking straight into a stun from Penta. Hiccup is there ready as well. He's looking for that mosh pit. It worked well last time, and now they're going to do it. They're going to escort in these Giants. A couple of flamethrowers, and suddenly that keep is dead.
I mean, 20 is where Leoric can get quite scary. He does unlock that Storm talent, Spectral Leech, which means that all of his basic attacks deal bonus damage equal to 5% of that hero's health. So this is when he can really start to shred any target that he's allowed to start auto-attacking. Yeah,
like one rotation does 1k. It's getting there. A couple of shots from these Giants.
And they can finally get it down. There we go. That was the force that they needed, but look at this. Penta getting really nice and aggressive. Hiccup, the Divine should have to go up.
Divine Shield onto the mosh pit, instantly interrupted there. Divine Shield actually getting collapsed upon. Greatness is going to take a lot of damage, but in the back line, it's all about this. Wow, look at that. He's going to try and go for the death and get the death from above. Oh no, it's not going to happen actually. Physics looking to try and make things happen. He's getting jumped upon by Sorelli. Bit of a bloodbath right now. It's a 1-for-1 trade. You see Ninja in the backline, very safe and very secure. Sorelli is going to drop, but he's going to pop that indestructible. Aluminum in the backline, no health and no battery charges. And it looked a bit chaotic. The damage was done. You could see they wanted to go for the fight, but the keep was taken, which is the main objective.
That was it, but Penta switched on. He didn't want to let... Every time there's sort of an exchange happening, it seems that Penta's the one to then make the call to jump in to say, well, we're not going to let them have it for free, you know? Like, we're not going to let them have the keep and then back away. We need to get something out of this. At least if it's a kill, let's get something out of this. And it looks like they are postured really nicely to actually take the Dragon Knight the second time around. Don't know if MIL will be able to stall enough. No.
They're actually getting out-rotated. They got out-rotated for the second time. I don't understand.
It's them just backing off, so... Oh, it just feels a little bit bad, doesn't it? But there is a Night Camp. It's not all gloom and doom. There is a Night Camp pushing on. It will push on straight to the core. Their Greatness actually had to recall to go and deal with this. They're taking the Dragon Knight up to the top. This is the death bridge, though. This is probably not the lane you want to assault. This is not the lane that you want to pick a fight on.
So they will have the percentile damage from Drain Hope. Obviously, Curse Bullet does not work on the Dragon, but they will be able to shred this one through. Almost a bit like Malfail. Thank goodness he's not live just yet, but he will be next weekend, so get ready for that. But in terms of this game, the Dragon, once again, not going to be able to find too much value for Ethereal. They seem to have picked up 2 Dragons in quick succession. They're being used as mainly stalling tactics, but the Entomb is there, and their Flame Trike getting a double charge on towards Sorelli, but the Iron Skin providing a lot of protection for that damage.
They really want to force a fight while Greatness wasn't there, which is the right thing to do, definitely. Dragon Knight, though, just proving to be so slippery. They just can't quite get any value out of it just yet. I'm surprised that they didn't want to push through mid, just take that outer and then try and push on there. It's always awkward trying to pick a fight on that Death Bridge.
Yeah, Death Bridge is never any fun, especially when you're fighting into a choke, which has Mosh Pit, Entomb, and Qualifier. So a right call for that. They go straight through mid, looking to pick up the final structure, pick up that fort, get themselves even more opportunities for rotations, and well, it gets scary right now. Hiccup is locked in. There's no chance of getting blown to the storm. Just getting himself out. Wow, that was huge.
So Touch Me was the one in the Dragon Knight. That's why he was playing a little bit carefully, making sure that he was not going to be in a bit of a strange situation when he popped out of that Dragon Knight. But fight coming out. Gust is blown. Sorelli in the firing lines. Aegis goes out.
Aegis. Absolutely huge. Aegis Divine Shield comes out onto Hiccup. He's going to look to try and jump onto the point. It's not going to be enough. Hiccup is forced to back away as that point is picked up. Penta jumping in with the heavy impact, getting a 3-man stun. They're fighting in a choke point. This is what Ninja wants. He's getting a lot of damage. Living Bomb and Flame Strike splitting across the targets. Look at the fire burn. Pop she goes, and Physics coming in with the cleanup crew with the Running Wild jumps in and a clean 5-man ace. Surely they've done enough, Vandy. It's 24 minutes into the game. Run it down, bot, and it's GG.
The call has been made. They are going straight into that open lane. This was the fight that they wanted. As you said, Ninja, that Living Bomb did so much damage. Right there, Aluminum instantly taken out by it. And then with Uther just standing around healing in Ghost form, oh, such a close game, Skimmy. But NMD, they've done it.
NMD have done it. It came down to one late game team fight. A lot of suspense, even levels, even kills, and nerves across the board. But one team fight seals the deal, and NMD get their revenge from earlier, and they are the 4th and final team for next week's championship finals.
So I'm going to pass it over because